Hi folks, how is it going? How is your day progressing? I hope everything is going well in your life, in your time on this earth, and I hope your week is progressing quick if you're getting towards the weekend, and if it's not, and if this is your weekend, congratulations, enjoy your few days off. Now, I'm going to be regaling you with a story of my own today, because I got a few requests to do that, and I got a few requests on Patreon asking, hey, do you have any of those stories of your own time at Games Workshop left? Because they're really raw, and they're really in your face, and we really like them. They're not second-hand news, you know? And yes, I do. I've got about 10, 11 left to go, and I can regale you with one today. When I did a little bit of an ask around on Patreon, they decided that thieving was where we were going with today, and there is our thieves in the store. On which I've got a few stories, but only one of them I actually want to share today, because I like to keep these videos nice and succinct for you. If you like what I do, the subscribe button's down below. And apart from that, if you don't like what I do, and you watch this video and it's not for you, then please go and support one of the other YouTubers who's online, one who's like below 50,000 subs, or maybe even 70,000 subs. Get those people going, because the smaller voices in the hobby are the ones who aren't getting looked at by GW. We're the ones who give you the raw stuff. Auspex Tactics is one. Outer Circle is another one. These are guys who actually give you the raw stuff, right? They're not neutered by Games Workshop. They're not going to be telling you, you know, this product's great because I get it for free. No, they're going to be telling you what they actually think. There are only a few other YouTubers that are really huge who do that. And everyone below a certain threshold of subs are the ones that GW kind of ignores. So we're safe for now. Anyway, if you like what I do, please hit the subscribe button, because the more times you do that, the more views I get. And I actually trust those people to not be shills at any time in the future. And neither will I. They could give me all the models that they like, and I'll still tell you what I think about them, to be honest with you. Which means they won't give me any, but who cares? Now, let's go into this story. It's about a man called Mark. And Mark is one of the most unique thieves that I've ever had at a Games Workshop, because things didn't quite work out how you would expect. Because a lot of these stories end up in a really nasty place. This one, not so much. Well, it kind of does, but anyway. This story comes from my time at Games Workshop, running my own store in the UK. I had just gotten a job, the job, a month before, and was enjoying the Master of Mankind book by Aaron Dembski-Bowden, while sitting at my painting table as the day quietened down. These were often the harder moments working on your own in a GW store. Everyone is at work during the day, and kids are in school. So what is a man to do apart from either read a book or paint his hobby? I mean, that's a great job, yes, but you also do think, I should really be selling models, quote unquote, do you know what I mean? Like, it's very easy to sit there and be like, oh my god, my business is failing, when there's nobody there all day because everyone's in work, right? As such, I changed my opening hours to open at 12 midday and close at 7 PM. That way, I could take advantage of the folks coming out of work for their lunch, the school kids getting out of school to head to the store, and those leaving work at 7 PM. I was open for all of those people. I thought it best to ask forgiveness than permission for this from HQ, and it seemed to work. We were making more money day by day as the store was open when people actually needed it. So I was pretty buzzing at this time. One evening, around 5 PM, a fellow manager from down the road, I really got along with, Ryan, came into the store after his own shut for the day. Now, he has appeared in some of my other stories, and is an all-round decent bloke. We sat down and had a chat where he regaled me that his store was being watched by HQ, by Nottingham headquarters, as models on his shelves were disappearing out the door and not being paid for. And of course, us being new managers, when things are disappearing out of the store, they tend to look at you first as the thief. Someone in his store was basically on the rob, and he didn't know who. Now, this is not good, obviously, but I also hesitated to guess what HQ expected one man in a packed store to do if his attention is being pulled in 30 different directions at once. If you want a constant vigil on your stock, GW, hire more staff. The shops where I heard relatively little about thieving were always in multi-man stores where they could see it and mitigate it happening, as it happened. I said as much to him, but Ryan had something else. He actually had a suspect. Mark. Now, I knew Mark, and he was a decent fellow. Let me just take a quick drink of tea, because my throat's getting tickly. Right, I knew Mark, and he was a decent fellow. He would always come into my store playing with new models that he got from eBay, which was a bit of a kick in the teeth for me. I mean, try not doing that, please. Like, if you do go and get models from eBay, and you go to play in the Games Workshop store, don't tell people you got them on eBay. Keep it to yourself. It's harming the business you are using to play your games in, right? I mean, you might ask me why is that? Well, I did this last year. Actually, I did a video on this last year. If you go into a store like GW or even like a normal hobby store and you say, well, I got these guardsmen for £10, and here they're like £38. So, yeah, go on eBay and get them. What do you think that's doing to the store, like when they're trying to run a business? Yeah. Don't be a dick. Don't do that. Don't take food off people's tables. Just go in there and play with your models. No problem. Don't ask, don't tell, right? And if you don't like that, then, dude, I've got a big lecture to give you on selfishness. I'm not being a dick, but you know, I'll put that aside for now. But aside from that, he was generally a nice bloke, a nice dude who added to the atmosphere of the store. Needless to say, I was a bit taken aback by the news of his suspicion. Ryan left not long after to hop on the train home with me as I closed the store. That evening, that Thursday night at our gaming club, I was sitting there doing some work and taking people through games at our tables, making decent sales, when Mark comes in to play. He has a brand new Carnifex and Hive Tyrant that he claims he has just gotten from eBay and painted. Now, his paint job for Tyranids was brilliant. Pitch black, highlighted nicely, shiny gloss over the top, with silver fangs, teeth and claws. Yep, he'd made them xenomorphs from Alien, which is pretty cool. Anyway, he sits down to play, and I hear him telling folks how he got a real good deal on eBay for them. Annoying. I head over to the phone and give Ryan a quick call, who I actually interrupt as he is on the job with his woman, if you catch my meaning. His gaming night is a Friday and not a Thursday, so he got to go home early that night. And I ask him if anything has gone missing this week from his stock, and, lo and behold, a Carnifex and Hive Tyrant have made their way out of the door without him knowing. Now, I want to confront Mark, but what can I do? Accuse him in front of the store? Can't do that. I decide to keep a close watch on him instead. After about an hour, he heads over between games to stand on the side of the store and places his bag on the floor next to the Tyranid models in the Xenos section. His bag is open at his feet, up to the side of him. After a few minutes of watching the game in front of him, he stumbles, knocking a box of Termagants off the shelf and into his bag, so they are poking out of the top. He then moves to the side and kicks the bottom of the bag as he's looking at something else, so that they slide right in. A moment or two later, he apologises that his bag is in the way and puts it under the gaming table. I am seething, to say the least. The store is doing so well at the moment, and here is this guy taking £30 out of my till every now and again, completely unnoticed. I felt like I'd been made a fool of. As the night wound down and the lads are putting their models away, I head over to Mark and ask him to wait around after everyone heads home. He says he can't that night, as he has a train to catch, but will catch up with me next time. I say that he can either wait, or I will ask him to show me what's in his bag, there and then. He goes slightly white, and says there is nothing in his bag, and he does not need to open his bag for anybody, which, by the way, is technically true. I have no legal recourse to demand to look inside your bag, no matter who you are. I am not the police. By the way, if you're on a skateboard or something and the police ask you to give them your skateboard, you don't have to. It's your property. It just is what it is. Like, shit like that happens all the time. Anyway, got a mate who's a police officer and he regales me with stuff like that all the time. Anyway, I then quietly say that I saw him steal the Termagants and that he has been under suspicion for some time in another store. He does own up to it now. Now that he may not be banned from both... Anyway, let me read that again, because I've written it in a really stupid way. If he owns up to it now, he may not be banned from both stores, but if he walks out with another set of models, he will not be welcomed back to my store, ever. I literally saw... I literally saw you cleverly shove the models into your bag, and I've been watching your bag all evening. I know they're in there. He relents, and says he will stay behind. Afterwards, He gets the Terragants out of his bag, puts them on the painting table when everyone else has gone home, and starts to break down in tears. Head on his hand at the painting table, giving me a story about how he cannot afford to buy models, but outside of work, the hobby is his life. He didn't mean to hurt anyone, he just loved the friends he had made and wanted to feel worthy of them. This could have been bullshit, but hey, at least I caught him and rocked his worldview a little bit. That was my pull away from this, you know what I mean? At least I caught him, at least he's here, at least he's admitted it. Here we go. I said I understood, but he would be banned from Ryan's store for as long as Ryan wanted, because he's taken a lot more out of his store than mine. He was still welcome to come into my store, but the minute anything went missing, I would be coming to him first, and if any suspicion fell on him, he would be out and reported to HQ as a person of interest to keep away from Games Workshop stores. Essentially, the person of interest list is a list of body exposers, flashers, sex offenders and kleptomaniacs who need to be kept away from the store premises at all costs. And we have like a description of people, their names, and what to do if they're seen around the store. All you need to do is call up head office and literally give the description in and the name of the person, and they will say if they're on that list or not. Essentially, it's not a foolproof plan. The guy could always change the name, but you can't be seen to be doing nothing about these things that are going on in your store. He agrees, and I pass this news on to Ryan, who is at this point raging. He bans Mark for 6 months from his store and says he will back me up if I need to go to HQ about him. That's the end of the thieving part of the story, but it's not the end of the story. The next week, Ryan does something very silly, because he's trying to do me a solid. He brings in his trainer, a cool dude by the name of Jack, quote-unquote, cool dude, to my store in the afternoon for a coffee. We talk about, and if you know anything about Games Workshop trainers from HQ, you know how this is going to go, right? But anyway, we talk about the store and how it's going, and I say that profits and money are coming in and are on the up, and that we are constantly in the green on my reports, which means growth. We're in growth week by week. So week to week, for the past 4 to 5 weeks, we've been in decent growth, which is great. I'm buzzing, really. He asks why this is, and Ryan, proud of the work in the store, he's a good guy, he's proud of his mate, says, "Oh, he's done loads. Painting events, beginner evenings. He even changed the store opening times to better serve the community he has here. It's been amazing work." I can almost see Jack, the HQ trainer, steeple his fingers like Mr. Burns from the fucking Simpsons, but I say nothing as they head out an hour later. The next day, I get a call from HQ, an official verbal warning for changing my store opening times without prior consent, as well as a demand to return them to normal trading hours or find another job. I did so. The revenue in the store gradually went over the next couple of weeks from green to grey, which means breaking even, and then to red again, which means you're losing money, just in time for the Christmas rush. Fantastic, really, isn't it? Yeah. This would go on for the next couple of years until my last Christmas. I'm like a little while later. Fucking sigh. Bad end to the story, but at least Mark also didn't play up after that. He never stole anything ever again, as far as I know, and I was always checking my stock levels, and so he never took anything from my store, which is great. But anyway, that is the story about Mark and how I had to change my trading hours back again to be getting up early in the morning, because if any of you know me, I don't like early mornings, so that decision was partly made out of a selfish need to stay in bed, but also, it was actually working out in terms of money. But anyway, screw my mental health, right? As long as Games Workshop get what they need. Fucking bastards. Anyway, love you all long time. I'll be back tomorrow with some more of your hobby nightmares. I will see you later. I'll actually be streaming later on today, so that'll be pretty cool. And yeah, I will be seeing you a little bit later on. Have a good one. See you later.